Hey guys, how's it going? So today I have another Taurus G3 video for you. 2 days ago I did a rather long unboxing and rather comprehensive review. Some of you guys love the longer videos, people that are kind of new into the guns or people that are just wanting to know everything about it. That was the purpose of that video. So, starting today and in the near future, I'm going to do some more videos on this gun about some of its more specifics, and they're going to be generally shorter videos so that you can just stop by here for a few minutes and, you know, I've got a lot of questions about it. So I'm just going to go over some things one by one, okay? But before I do, just wanted to remind you guys, I'm spending a lot of time doing this channel, a lot of money all out of my own pocket. So if you guys can help me a little bit, the link to my Patreon and Subscribe Star are down in the description. And for those of you that don't have any extra money, that's cool. Just give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Tell your friends, spread it around your social media, and if you know anyone that would be interested in the channel, encourage them to subscribe. So what I'm going to do today is briefly talk about the trigger on the G3 and how it's actually quite an improvement over the G2C. Now, in my initial unboxing, and trust me guys, it was a real initial unboxing, I just simply said, hey, look guys, kind of crossing my fingers because my trigger wasn't quite perfect on my G2C out of the box. Remember that? And I said, wow, I don't know if I just got one that was a little, you know, better off the assembly line or a little better quality control, but this trigger is much better. Well, after I got time to look at the gun a little closer, I realized why the trigger seems so much better on this G3. And that is because indeed Taurus has designed an all new trigger and they're incorporating it in this G3. So first and foremost, the G3 definitely has, in my opinion, a better trigger than the G2C. No question about it. Now look, I don't hate the trigger in this gun. The trigger's just fine. I was perfectly happy with it. Did it leave a little bit to be desired? Sure. Well, here's what they did. And my equipment isn't the best, guys, so I'm not going to be able to like really show you exactly, but I think I can explain it because the concept's pretty simple. So they did two main things. We're going to start off with the G2C that a lot of you are more familiar with. And we're going to see a polymer trigger with a rather thin safety blade in the middle. So this is going to work like a Glock and many other pistols, where first you have to actuate this blade, then it allows you to pull the trigger, right? And if you don't, obviously, if you just push the trigger on its side, it's not going to move. Well, there's obviously a mechanism, and in this case there's a couple moving parts in here that are preventing this trigger from moving back and firing the pistol without this blade engaged. And basically the way it works is this. You can barely see a little bit of shiny metal back here, okay? So what happens is there's a little piece of metal that's like a curved, like hook shape. It curves up on the end. And if you just simply try to pull back, it is going to completely stop the trigger from moving because that hook is blocking the separate camming piece that's rather straight. So when I push the blade in, it's going to move the one piece of metal down slightly, move it just out of the way so the trigger can get past it. So you're basically taking a piece of metal that's kind of like acting as a blocker, if you will, right? And it's blocking this piece from going. I'm actually kind of doing this upside down, but it's curving up like this, and it's blocking this piece from moving any more further back. So when you push the blade in, this piece drops down just a slight bit and allows this piece to continue. If you guys have G2Cs, you'll be able to look in here and see that. So there's a piece of metal blocking another piece of metal. Well, even when this little safety moves it out of the way, it doesn't get it like far out of the way. It just moves it just enough. So what's happening is you're still having a small amount of metal to metal contact to allow the trigger to kind of overcome and then finish on through. So that's why, especially when your G2C's new, a lot of times you notice a little hitch. And you have to kind of overcome the hitch a little bit, especially on the reset, because there's two pieces of metal that the engagement's moving, but there's still kind of a friction fit. Hopefully I'm doing a good job of explaining this, but that's kind of how it works. And again, the trigger safety is rather narrow, which you kind of notice that in the pad of your finger. It doesn't dig in, it doesn't hurt, but it's not like the most comfortable, right? And then I would also note when you press it in, it doesn't completely go flush. So the safety still kind of sticks out a little bit, right? Even after you depress it. So that's what's going on with the G2C. Now, with the G3, they've completely redesigned the way this trigger safety works. And we can actually see a little bit from this shot that there's a piece of polymer that protrudes up into the frame here, okay? We might be able to see that in there. There you go. You can kind of see it. See that? It looks like a little ear sticking up. So this trigger safety works in a much more simple manner. So first of all, if I just go to pull it back without touching the trigger safety, there's a little nub sticking on the back of the trigger that is polymer right here. See that little nub? That's sticking back. That's in the way. So what happens is it's this easy, guys. You go to put it back without engaging it, and it's literally just stopping it. See, there's a physical barrier there. That little ear that's sticking up in the frame is stopping this plastic nub, keeping the trigger from traveling. As soon as we depress this, see how that goes away? That little plastic piece sticking from the back of the trigger, it retracts itself. Now there's nothing for that ear, and you can see that little U-shaped ear sticking up there. There's nothing for that ear of the frame to grab onto, and it allows you to fully pull your trigger. So what they've done is they've taken two metal pieces that still physically interact with themselves every time you pull the trigger, gotten rid of that. There's no more friction, there's no more hitch, and the hitch you feel on the G2C is the piece of metal that wants to bind for a split second on the other piece of metal till it can break free, right? No, this is nothing like that. Completely simple. Literally, piece of plastic blocking another piece of plastic, pull in the trigger blade here, the safety, and it just goes away. So that really, that simplistic design improved a lot. And if you're kind of worried, like, well, why did they swap out steel parts for polymer parts? Well, there's always a little concern having a polymer trigger instead of a steel trigger. But let's face it, many of the tried and true polymer guns we've been using for years have plastic triggers. So that's not necessarily a problem. And the spot that's stopping you, like blocking the trigger motion, I don't think it being metal on the G2C is really going to make it any stronger than being polymer on the G3, simply because this is actually less complex. There's literally just a piece of polymer hitting another piece of polymer. And that's only if you are not engaging your safety blade, right? As soon as you engage your safety blade, there's really nothing interacting with anything. And that's why there's zero hitch, and this trigger feels so much smoother because there's nothing that has to separate itself. It's just simply, it just goes right up in there. So I don't want to overly complicate it, but yeah, it is literally that simple, guys. So here's the deal. This trigger is awesome, guys, for the money. Yeah, your 1911 Wilson Combat trigger is going to be better, of course. But for a gun that's a little over 200 bucks, this trigger is about as good as it gets. And I would note what else adds to the comfort is the actual safety blade. The blade itself is substantially wider on the G3. I'm going to say by eyeballing it, easily twice as wide as what's on the G2C. So you can see the thin one there. Much thicker. This makes it where the surface tension is spread out over a wider portion of the pad of your finger, resulting in much more comfort. I would also notice now that I engage the blade, it goes completely flush. Almost completely flush. There's just a couple serrations, which are actually a good thing. The serrations are there to help make sure your trigger finger doesn't slide off. But besides the little serrations that are there for good reason, for grip, it doesn't protrude out like the G2C. So you're going to have more comfort on the pad of your finger, which who's complaining about comfort, right? And you have a much simpler with less moving parts blade safeties. So when you combine the two, this is a pretty good upgrade on the G3. And let me reiterate, I'm not bashing the trigger on this gun at all, guys. You guys know how much I like this gun, okay? But when I say I'm starting to really like this gun, the trigger is one of the big reasons. So I'm pretty excited about this gun. I'm pretty excited about the trigger too. So I just thought I'd explain that for you guys. A lot of you have been asking me about the trigger, commenting on the trigger. That's one of the most important things for many people. So hopefully that clarifies it a little bit. I think you guys are going to be pretty happy with the overall trigger on this gun though. And like I said, more shorter videos coming up here, talking about some more unique aspects of these guns. Some of the cross compatibility too. So here's a little teaser for you. And I'm excited about this, by the way. I showed you a little bit before, like, look, this 4-inch barrel actually fits in the G2C. Like, it physically fits. So very soon, in the next couple days, you're going to see a video of me test firing the G2C with the G3 barrel in it. Okay? You guys have been definitely requesting that, which is my fault because I teased it. But trust me, I teased it for a reason. I'm just as excited as you guys are. The other thing we're going to be experimenting with is I'm going to take the G2C out and shoot it with both the 15-round G3 mag, okay, as well as the 17-round G3 mag. That video is coming up very soon. And shortly after that, I'll give you guys a quick hint here. I got a package in from Bloody Wheels. And let's just say I might have some spacers that are going to work with these G3 mags, okay? And I might even have some spacers, okay? Now, I can't give it all away or you guys aren't going to watch the video, but we've got the G2C compatible SIG P226 mags, right? With the spacers from Bloody Wheels. Now, those are going to space it out for the G2C. I just might have some spacers for the 18 round SIG 226 mag for the G3. And I'm sorry, that was the 20 round mag. And then also, right now this is the G2C spacer. Let me show you guys real quick here. G2C spacer, 18 round Metgar P226 mag from Bloody Wheels. And I might just have a spacer from him that is now going to space the 18 round 226 mag to the G3. And it even gets better than that. I also have something that I'm going to show you from him that he actually hasn't even released to the public. And kind of sort of some stuff that's, to be quite honest, in prototype. And you're probably going to see it here on my channel first. And then you're going to be able to go over and buy it from Bloody Wheels fairly soon. So, bunch of short videos on this that I'm going to discuss. I know this video wasn't too short, but a lot shorter than the 40-minute video. So when I say short video, guys, just humor me. Short by my standards. But hey, you guys can deal with me for 10 minutes, can't you? Alright, guys. More videos to come. Keep asking me questions, comments, and I'll be doing these videos as we go, just depending on what you guys are wanting to talk about with this gun. Because I'm still wanting to talk about it quite a bit more. Because I don't know if I told you guys this yet. I really can't remember, but I'm really liking it, and I'm kind of excited about this gun. Alright, guys. I'll talk to you later. And thanks for watching, and have a good one.